Pteranodon. The name sounds like a curse word in Latin, and if you were a fish 85 million years ago, it was. Not a bird, not a dinosaur. Something evolution built on a completely different branch of the family tree. A flying reptile with a 7-meter wingspan, no teeth, and a skull crest so absurd it looked like God hit undo halfway through. Scientists still argue what the crest was for. Showing off? Steering? Attracting mates? Maybe all three. Evolution rarely does anything for just one reason. It soared over the western interior seaway, that ancient ocean that split North America in half, hunting fish from the air like a living missile. And those wings weren't just skin. They were complex living membranes, structural fibers, muscles, blood vessels. Essentially a sophisticated sail that could reshape itself mid-flight. One finger held the whole thing open. One impossibly long finger. That's the entire wing. It didn't flap much. It glided, riding thermals, scanning the water below. Then it dove. Scooped. Gone. The fish never saw the shadow coming. But Pteranodon had company, and some of it was worse. Tapejara, Brazil, late Cretaceous, and someone forgot to turn off the color settings. While everything else in the sky was hunting, Tapejara showed up wearing a head crest that looked like a traffic cone and survived a design competition. Tall, curved, possibly bright red based on bone structure analysis. This wasn't camouflage, this was a statement. Wingspan around 4 meters, beak short and curved, built for fruit and soft vegetation, not fish. The only creature on this list that chose salad. Respect, honestly. Some researchers think the crest acted like a sail, catching wind mid-flight to assist turning. A living rudder with a beak. Others say pure display. Either way, Tapejara was the loudest thing in the sky without making a single sound. Not built for speed, built to be seen. In a sky full of hunters, that's either confidence or stupidity. Sometimes those look identical. Dimorphodon, 200 million years ago, Jurassic coast of what is now England, and something was wrong with its head. Skull enormous relative to its body, deep beak that looked borrowed from a much bigger animal. 2 types of teeth, hence the name, large fangs at the front, smaller ones behind. A mixed toolkit for mixed meals. Wingspan is only 1.4 meters, body roughly the size of a crow, but those legs were built differently, muscular, functional. This one could actually move on the ground without looking completely embarrassed. It ran on all fours, wrist bones as front feet, hunting insects, small lizards, fish near shorelines. A generalist. In survival terms, generalists outlast specialists every time. Not glamorous, not the biggest, just ruthlessly adaptable. Sometimes that's the whole game. Rhamphorhynchus. Smaller, older, smarter than it looked. Late Jurassic. Wingspan about 1.8 meters. The tail ended in a diamond-shaped flap that wasn't decorative. That flap was a precision control surface, a rudder, giving it mid-air accuracy that larger pterosaurs couldn't match. Teeth angled forward like a trap, designed to snag fish just below the surface without slowing down. Nature's first fishing net with wings. We know what it ate because fossils preserved stomach contents. Fish, small squid, occasionally other pterosaurs when opportunity arrived. Because when everything is trying to survive, the rules stay flexible. One fossil found a Rhamphorhynchus inside the stomach of a large fish, which was inside the stomach of another creature. A prehistoric nesting doll of tragedy. Tail, teeth, speed. Every piece is built for one purpose. Efficiency above everything. Quetzalcoatlus, the largest flying animal in the history of life on Earth. And it looked like something a child drew after being told to make a dragon more terrifying. 12-meter wingspan, the height of a giraffe when standing. It wasn't built like a bird. It wasn't built like a bat. It was a pterosaur, a flying reptile from the late Cretaceous, and it launched itself into the air by vaulting off all 4 limbs simultaneously like a grotesque biological trebuchet. Scientists figured this out by studying the bone structure and then having a collective moment of quiet discomfort. On the ground it walked upright, stalking prey like a nightmare heron. In the air, it probably soared thousands of kilometers using thermal currents, similar to an albatross but the size of a small plane and considerably less charming. It ate whatever it wanted. It weighed around 250 kilograms, which means it was flying at roughly the weight limit of a commercial seat upgrade. When the asteroid hit 66 million years ago, Quetzalcoatlus disappeared with everything else. The sky has been noticeably less horrifying since. Anurognathus, smallest entry, most unsettling face. Wingspan of 50 centimeters, Body the size of a sparrow. Short skull, huge eyes, tiny peg teeth. It looked unfinished. It was perfectly designed. Those giant eyes and wide gape meant one thing: high-speed aerial insect hunting. Darting through low light at dusk, snapping midges and flies mid-flight the way modern nightjars and bats do. Pure reflex. Pure velocity. Now, the theory. Some paleontologists proposed it rode the backs of large dinosaurs, picking off swarming parasites like a tiny flying cleaner fish. The size fits, the timing fits, but most modern researchers lean away from it. The anatomy points overwhelmingly to open-air pursuit hunting, not passive parasite removal. Still, a sparrow-sized pterosaur sharing airspace with animals the size of buildings, completely unbothered by everything below. Evolution's quietest experiment. 50 centimeters of pure efficiency. Dsungaripterus, China, early Cretaceous. And evolution finally solved a different problem. Wingspan around 3.5 meters. Crest running along the snout like a raised ridge. But the teeth break the pattern completely. No sharp points. No forward fangs. Flat, crushing molars at the back. Narrow, upturned beak at the front. Built for shellfish, crabs, mollusks. Hard-shelled prey that every other pterosaur ignored because they simply couldn't process it. That curved beak pried shells open. Those back teeth crushed what was inside. A cracker and a scooper in one skull, built by 160 million years of refinement. It lived near lakes and shorelines, slowly working through shell beds while faster hunters chased fish overhead. Different niche, zero competition. Being the only one who eats the thing nobody else can eat is an advantage that compounds quietly across millions of years. Weird beak, flat teeth, completely unbothered. Nyctosaurus, late Cretaceous, Kansas. And it surrendered its hands to become something extraordinary. Most pterosaurs kept claws on their wings, useful for climbing, gripping, moving on land. Nyctosaurus lost them entirely. No claws, barely functional on the ground. What it gained was the most extreme flight specialization in the group. Wingspan is around 2 meters. And that crest. 2 long bony prongs extending from the skull, branching like antlers, reaching nearly the length of the entire body. Earlier reconstructions suggested a skin sail between those prongs, but current research largely dismisses it. A membrane that large would have created catastrophic aerodynamic drag and real structural risk in crosswinds. The prongs were almost certainly bare, likely keratin-covered, functioning as a stabilizer and possibly a display structure. Built for open ocean soaring. Researchers believe it lived like an albatross, spending most of its existence airborne over deep water, rarely touching land except to breed. The crest helped maintain stability in sustained winds, a permanent trim tab above its own skull. It gave up everything that made ground life possible. In exchange, it got the sky permanently. No claws, no ground. Just an endless horizon and a crest pointed forward like it already knew where it was going. The sky wasn't empty, it was architected. Species by species, wing design by wing design, each one solving flight differently. All of them were real. All of them were here. Which one would you least want to see coming at you from above?